Today we're going to talk about multiplying decimals. Multiplying decimals is very similar to multiplying whole numbers. So we're going to start with the number 2 3/10 times 4. Now, looking at this problem, it's a little tricky because of our decimal point, but we can think of this as a problem with whole numbers. So you can actually think of this as 23 times 4, and you can use our decomposition model. So if we make our decomposition model, we're going to put 20 and 3 on the top, and we're going to put 4 on the side. But there is one thing we need to think about. We still need to think about this decimal point, because what we did is we actually moved it one place to the right. So we still need to make sure that we remember that we moved that decimal point. So now we're going to do 20 times 4, which is 80, 4 times 3, which is 12. Now, looking at this, we add 80 plus 12, and we get 92. So we know that 23 times 4 is 92. But our original problem was still 23, or 2 3/10 times 4. So we needed to remember that decimal point. Now remember, when we first did this, we moved our decimal point to the right. So now that our answer is 92, we actually have to move the decimal point that we know is at the end and move it to the left one. So our number is actually 9 2/10. So let's try another one. So if we have the number 3 7/10 times 5, we're going to move that decimal point over one space to the right to make it a whole number, which would make it 37 times 5. Now remember, that decimal point is moved here, which still keeps this as a whole number. So now we're going to do our decomposition model, and we are going to put 30 and 7 on the top and 5 on the side. So we have 30 times 5, which would be 150, 7 times 5, which is 35. We add this up, and we get an answer of 185. So our answer to this is 185. Now, our original problem was 3 7/10 times 5. Now remember, we moved that decimal point over one spot to the right. So now we need to move that decimal point back one spot to the left. So our answer is actually 18 5/10. Now, let's do one more problem together before you try some problems on your own. So now I'm going to do the number 4 times 1 24 hundredths. Now this one's going to be different because we actually have to move our decimal point over 2 spaces to make it a whole number. So our problem turns into 4 times 124. Let's do our decomposition model. So we break up 124, 120, and 4. We put 4 on the side. 100 times 4 is 400. 20 times 4 is 80. 4 times 4 is 16. So we add them up. 400 plus 80 plus 16. We get 496. So 496 is our answer. But remember, we moved that decimal point over 2 spaces. So now we have to move that decimal point back over to the left 2 spaces. So our answer to 4 times 1 and 2400ths is actually 4 and 9600ths.